Time to knock off early. And open up the mountain. Black Rock Spire. Custom field ID. Alright, whatever. So here we go.
Greetings,
Hi,
Slayer
Lord
of
Omar.
Ragnaros. What are you doing in Black Rock Spire?
That's funny. Destroy a random damaged minion. Alright, that's a good candidate for Hobgoblin.
Garrosh versus High Lord Omog!
I'll crush you.
Yes, yes.
Or death.
Shields are going to be pretty good, I predict.
Crush or smash. Hard decision.
One shot.
Why are you here? Ragnaros is dead. You should be celebrating with your friends.
Get in there and fight, man!
Well, this guy is... could be problematic. Oh man, they all have that crap?
It's running.
You just turned it on and it worked? Like, you went down there, you plugged it in, turned it on, and it worked? That's not funny. I'm not even kidding. I went down there and I dicked around with
Ragnaros is up here.
it, like, just doing my stuff to give it, like, a chance to warm up.
Go home.
And I couldn't get the damn thing turned.
It took a couple tries. We need a new treadmill. But it's running right. If you want to get it running, it's running right now.
No, I'm not in any position to do it right now,
Okay.
but...
I'm going to turn it off then. Alright.
yeah, it's fine. Maybe I'm going to start looking at
Yeah,
options
I
on
mean, BJ still has them for $600.
I was just looking at Jeff wants,
Same one.
Jeff wants to get one too, so we were just looking at them at like Sears and shit when I was up in...
Sears has Proform. You know, Proform is going to be the cheapest. That's the one we've always had. As soon as you step up, now you're $900 to $1,200.
Yeah, there's not a lot of stuff in between them.
Right. So I'm saying 600. It could be like, it could be actually more like 700 by the time it's all said and done. But
Yeah, that's fine.
you know, we've had Proforms forever. I think we've gotten our money's worth out of them.
Yeah, we've had that one for...
Yeah, you know, the one thing I would say is that, you know, this is a little bit more than my example is probably not that good, but I used to buy Homeline weed whackers for $100. Okay?
Yeah.
And what I ended up doing was buying a new Homeline every year. I must have bought a new one like 4 or 5 years in a row. So I
Right.
spent $500 on it. Finally, one year I got tired of it and put out the $270 for the Echo. Okay, and I've had that one ever since.
Sure.
So it could be a little bit of you get what you pay for, but you know I kind of think it's not like we're paying this every year, every 2 years. And, you know, we've had this one down there. Granted, we haven't used it as much as we used to. You know, your mother and I used to run every day. Okay, you know, I walk on it now. I can't run anymore. Your mother doesn't use it. You get your use out of it now, I guess. I don't know how often you use it, but you know, it used to be you, me, your mother, Kristen. You know, kind of thing.
And the last one died. The last one died.
Even Troy used it once in a while.
Yeah, right. The last one died. Like you expect the parts that are going to die on that thing to be the moving parts, the motor.
Right.
Yeah, but like this one, it's the electronics.
Yeah.
Are just.
Yeah, the boards went.
Yeah.
That reminds me. So we had an interesting scenario today.
Yeah.
I got 2 questions for you. So first off, I get into work and my network's down on Siemens, you know, Siemens system, right?
Okay.
And just the usual characters. You know, it's tied into a server in the in the hospital. Okay. So sometimes when it doesn't kick in, you know, I'll go down to, we have a controller, it's VAEM, and so if I pull the battery, if I disconnect the 24 volts, pull the battery, it'll do a cold start on it, usually brings it back to life. Okay, it would not come back to life.
Nothing there, huh?
Okay, so it's like, so I'm talking to the guy from Siemens on the phone, right, Brian, and he's like Kevin, you know, the controller might be bad because that would be unusual, but you know it might be because we have an electrical shutdown last night. You know, and this thing's been getting hammered with.
Why did the electric went?
So if I told you all the myriad of reasons, you know, our power systems, okay, have been neglected for so many years. Okay, but now it's finally catching up to them.
It's just like the wires are starting to
Well,
deteriorate.
you know, sometimes we lose the line out of Pico. Another time we lost the transformer inside the hospital.
Yeah.
Another time it's, you know, we found out that the tiebreaker, which is, you know, when you lose a line, when you lose power, there should be an automatic transfer switch over to a tiebreak, you know, that kind of keeps power going, yada, 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 right?
Yeah.
All this, you know, just causing all these interruptions into electronic controls, and they just don't like it. You know, they don't like to be interrupted like that all of a sudden, you know?
Yeah. Well,
So, anyway, so Brian's like, you got to check the network drop. Okay, and I'm like, well, that would be weird. You know, we will, but that would be weird, right? So I get the IT guy, and he has a fluke meter that he brings over, and it reminded me of something that you use to test patch cables, really.
okay.
Okay, something along those lines. However, here's the kicker on it. He plugged his fluke in, right, and he could tell right away that what we were plugged into was not the right network. Because you're on the Cerner network. That's the hospital stuff. He goes, what are you doing in there? I'm like, he goes, you're supposed to be on this other one, whatever he called it. I forget what the name of it is. Okay, and you know, the thing of it is that literally somebody had to have gone down there, right, gone out of their way to unplug out of one and plug it into the other.
Yeah, and like, have you ever been inside the cable room in a network?
Well, sure.
Like, it's a mess. Like, there's shit everywhere.
Yeah, that's not how this is, though. This is the drop down in the mechanical room, not in the server area. Okay, not where all the racks are. This is just a drop where, like, you know, your racks would be, you know, 3 stories, you know, 3 floors over. Okay, and you just have your drop on the wall here that you plug into.
What are you saying? There's 2 places in the. Wait, no. Because he plugged into the cable coming out of the wall, right?
Sure.
And he's saying it's the wrong
Yeah,
physical network.
he was able to read the network. Have you ever worked in a multi-network situation?
Sure.
Like in one office?
Sure.
So he plugged in. How was he able to tell? Oh, this is on the Cerner network.
Well,
You got to be on the other one.
Because you can tell, like, when you have multiple networks in a single physical plant, right? You can only have so many computers on a single network, right? So they have to be divided into subnets.
Well, the Cerner is national.
Well, any network, right? So any physical network, no matter if it's like, if it's a national infrastructure,
Okay,
it
I
has
think
to
I'm going
be,
off in a bad direction there, by the way.
yeah, it has to be contained in the local network. You can't, like, there's not enough IP addresses in the world for them to be global.
What was he reading on his meter? I tried to ask him, and he was just vague about what he was reading.
I'm sure he was reading the subnet. Like, there's an IP. We have IP addresses. That's our address.
Oh. You know what? That's what he said. I gave him one number in the IP address, like, and had an 18 at it. Okay, 3 digits, 2 digits, 3 digits, 2 digits, right? Does that sound right?
4 groups of up to 3 digits.
Right. That's what he said. That's what he read.
Yeah.
He read one was an 18, and he says, I read 56. I knew that wasn't right.
Yeah, so, like, you look at an IP address, right? It's got 4 blocks of up to 3 digits. Right? And generally, any computer in the same subnet, like the first 2 blocks are usually not going to change no matter where you are in an area, right? If you have a bunch of computers in the same subnet, the first 3 blocks are all the same, and the last block is the unique address for the computer.
For the computer, okay.
If you have two addresses in the same physical building, and the 3rd block is different, that means those 2 computers are in a different subnet. And even if the physical wires are like next to each other, they're logically separated because of that middle block being different. And that's how you can tell if they're on different subnets.
Okay. That makes total sense.
But I still don't understand what this has to do with the power situation that you were having.
Okay. Well, it turns out they can't be related. We were thinking that it was all had to do with the power, but I'm telling you, so on the drop, there's 2 ports.
Yeah.
Okay? And somebody literally had to, and the only thing we can think of is somebody with a laptop, and it had to be a maintenance guy. Somebody has a laptop, and they're looking for, internet connection that they can just sit down and hack around, mess around, not hack around, mess around. Get on the internet and surf, kind of thing. So they take it out, right? They plug their laptop in, and they can get connected, all right. And then when they're done, they go to plug in the computer network, and they plug it into the wrong block. That's the only plausible explanation.
Well, I can think of another one. As if there's 2 ports, right, and one's secure and one's not, plugs it into the first one, doesn't get any connection, says, oh, this one must be bad. Right. So then he switches the 2, thinking he's going to switch it back. When he plugs his into the second one, he does get connected, does his thing, and then forgets. And
forgets which one it was originally in.
Right.
Yeah. So I would love to confirm that.
It's interesting that they even have, like, that they wired all of the buildings with both physical subnets. I'm not, like, doesn't make sense why they would do that. Unless it was just legacy, unless it was always there and they just
could have been
separated them out. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So the other question I had was, we're having trouble. We have some really old controllers down there too. Okay, and we had a terrible problem with these field processing units, which still use cards for information.
Like punch cards?
Not punch cards, plug-in cards. Like your motherboard, how you plug it in.
Like actual circuit boards.
Sure. Okay. Some of them are 4x4, a lot of them are 2x4, that kind of thing. You plug them in, they're either binary or analog or, power card or, communications card. So we lost, right? And we think it was the fire system guys that were doing some rewiring, but we lost like a dozen of these cards. Okay, and you can't buy them. We had to go on eBay to buy them.
Of course you do.
Okay, and which was funny in itself because on eBay they were selling for like $200 a piece, but we can't buy on eBay. Okay, the hospital can't. So I got to give my friend a train. Hey, we need train to buy these cards and then sell them to us, right? So by the time instead of 200, by the time they got to us, they were 700.
Jesus Christ!
And nobody batted an eye.
Why can't the hospital just buy this shit? They can't expense stuff like that?
They have this goofy thing in their purchasing department that if you don't work with a vendor at least a half a dozen times a year, they will not approve him to be on the vendor list.
That's madness.
Yeah, it's pretty goofy.
Do you guys not have like an expense system? I guess you really wouldn't.
No.
Because like, Revout, for example, right? If I have to buy something that's, like if I have to buy a piece of software that's like $6,000, right? You fill out a purchase order, you do the whole business.
Right.
Right, but if I got to buy something that's like $200, I put it on my credit card and then I fill out an expense report and they reimburse me.
So,
everybody has a limit up to the amount that they can expense.
So it's funny, right? A guy down on the job actually did that one time, right? So the manager, he's new, okay? He buys this unit, and this air conditioning package unit, right? Puts it on where it's supposed to go, right? But quickly we figure out that he didn't get the heater for the emergency heat for it.
Okay.
All right. So a guy that he just hired, right? Even though he's new, he still had that. He hired somebody, and he knew this guy from before, right? So he tells Lance, he says, Lance, has to go over to Pierce Phelps over in Overbrook over there. Okay. To get this heater. He says, and we don't work with them. We typically don't deal with Pierce Phelps. The carrier, we don't have too much carrier, so we really don't call for it, right?
Yeah.
Lance puts the heater on his freaking credit card, right? Don't you know it took, first of all, at the end of the day, it took 6 months for him to get his money back.
Jesus Christ.
Okay? And not only did he not get his money back right away, they took it out of his check at first.
Wait, so he bought this thing, put in an expense request.
The manager did. The guy can't because he's a worker, so he can't. So the supervisor puts it in.
Instead of paying him back, they started deducting money as if he took money from the hospital.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
How much was
finally, it was a nice chunk of change. And
a couple grand?
For some reason, 1,200 sticks out in my brain.
Jesus Christ. That's a mess.
So you could see why nobody would do that again.
Well, yeah. I can see that.
So nobody's credit card ever comes out. The story is, well, if you're dependent on my credit card...
Well, I'm sure it did not take long for that story to get disseminated about the hospital, and nobody was stupid enough to pull that again. And they'd be only too happy to make the train mark up the thing 600%, so they didn't have to deal with it.
So there are companies out there that repair those circuit boards. How hard is that?
It really, really depends on what the circuit board is. Right, so if you're looking at, old-ass computers, right, like talking like 70s, 80s, shit like that, Apple IIe, that kind of stuff,
right.
If you were to look at those circuit boards, they would look nothing like my computer in here, right? It's just be a big green square with, just row after row of square black integrated circuits, right? And those integrated circuits were standard components, right? Because the people have been using integrated circuits since the 50s, right? But making them into a computer they have to be in a certain order, but they were generally not custom built like a CPU was. So all you have to do is desolder the component, as long as it's still being made, and a lot of them were, even today are still being made because they're still useful for, hobbyists or whatever. So you just desolder off the bad circuit, and there are, the circuit testers you can test which ICs are bad.
That was going to be my next question. How do you tell? Is there a way to tell, like, from one end of going in and into the board and out to the board, that first of all that board is bad?
Only if the board is designed to have a diagnostic like that. And they very well may be, because it's a real bitch to have to do. Like, if you have to go in with a voltmeter and, like, touch every contact to see if you're getting the right voltage out, first of all, you have to do the calculation to determine what the flipping voltage is. But boards built back in the day like that, they usually had, terminal on one side, terminal on the other. You could, like, plug in, an oscilloscope on one side and a meter on the other, and you could, if you put a waveform on one side, If you got, whatever the translation was on the other side, it was usually good. And if you didn't, it was bad. And then you'd have to work backwards to figure it out. But they also had, like, more sophisticated in the 90s or whatever, they had machines that you could connect to an actual integrated circuit, and you could put in the machine, this is a Texas Instruments 8590 IC, this pin is in, that pin is out, whatever, and then it would do its whatever and say, yes, this is good, no, it's bad. So you could do that. And ironically, those machines are hard to find nowadays. Not ironically, because no machine, no board today is user testable like that. You could not do that on a computer today.
Right.
But those old machines, it wouldn't be uncommon, especially like in a university, for example. If you had like a rack of old-ass equipment, like an old science lab or something.
Well, ours are, stuff I work with is from mid-'80s.
Right, but like when that stuff was installed, you guys didn't have a shop to maintain it. Right, but like Penn. If Penn had an old, like the Penn Hospital had an old racks of machines like that, they could go to the engineering department and be like, we need this, test this board, tell us if it's any good or whatever.
Well,
and they
we have
could
a
do it.
bioengineering department that would do that.
But do they?
I don't know to what extent they actually do.
Probably, today I'm sure they don't at all. I'm sure they'd be like, this is a waste of our time, just
throw it away
and get a new one or whatever. Go buy a new machine. But, back in the day, you could do that. You could test. And, hobbyists today still do it because it's a hobby. Just screwing around with the ICs or whatever.
Right.
So you could, if you had the patience and the know-how, you could diagnose the board, find what's wrong with it. If you're lucky, it's not an IC that's bad. It's an obvious blown capacitor or something. And that's very easy to identify, very easy to fix.
Right.
Or even better, as boards got more sophisticated, instead of just being rows of ICs, they had like op amps and MOSFETs in them. And those had, they got pretty hot because of the amount of current going through them. So they usually had rudimentary heat sinks. And when they would overload because of a spike or something, the friggin' heat sink would be melted or the thing would be scorched or shit. It'd be obvious what was wrong. And you could desolder that and put a new one in, no problem. If an IC is bad and there's 150 ICs on the thing, you're looking at a weekend worth of work to try and figure out which friggin' thing is bad and then to have to try and do it. And if you're an expert.
Right.
It would take me probably a year and a half to figure out what was wrong with the thing.
Thusly, that's why it becomes a trial and error game.
Right. And that's why it's not uncommon for people to have hoarded those things. After those computers started going out, you would have people looking at their stock rooms and being like, well, we've got tons of these replacement boards because we don't use this machine anymore. So they start smuggling them home, and then you sell them on eBay, thinking you'll get some hobbyist to give you $50 to learn how to use it. But then all of a sudden, people from hospitals and shit are like, oh my God, this isn't made anymore. The company that made this doesn't even exist anymore. Where can we find this? Oh shit, oh shit. And they go on eBay, and some guy's putting it up for $50, and that sells like hotcakes. And then all of a sudden, the next one's up for $200.
Right.
And it goes like that.
That's what we just went through, because we had the boards I just told you about. So we go to the guy. What did I say? A dozen? It was probably more like 8, right? So we needed 8. The guy says, "I got 12. We'll take them all."
Sure.
Right? And in talking to the guy, he's like, he goes, "I got to tell you, this is the last 12, and it was someplace in California." He goes, "I do not know of any more of these." So I go back to the boss and I go, as far as we can tell, this is it nationwide. So you guys either have to upgrade, or we're going to be back to 1940s where we walk to the unit to wait for somebody to call, walk to the unit and see what's going on.
The worst thing about those is that they didn't really have very good protections against not just surges, but like static discharge and shit. This machine, I have this thing wide open sitting in front of my desk. It's not good, but I know enough not to go anywhere near it. But if you're just walking past it, especially if it's a carpeted room, especially if it's the summer and the air conditioning's running or whatever,
right?
Somebody gets too close and they brush it with like a sweater or some shit, zaps to it, you wouldn't even notice it. But it fries the whole friggin' thing because they don't have protections. There's, if they're exposed, it's even worse.
Yeah.
And that's that's impossible to diagnose because that won't blow a cap. That won't scorch anything. That'll just fry an IC somewhere, and nobody has time to figure that shit out.
That's an interesting theory, by the way, because these units are supervisor. Okay, they're enclosed in an enclosure with a locking door. It's not airtight or anything like that, but so they were supposedly going to do this big project. Okay, so I'm not there one day, right? So one day somebody wants to see what these controls look like.
Yep.
An outside guy,
yep.
Right? Because he's going to bid on upgrading everything.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like trying to reach out to me and see where the keys are for this,
yeah.
They take a drill with every lock.
Jesus
right?
Christ!
And on on 15 of these things, right, are all in one group. Kill the lock, pull the doors off, and set it on the side in a mechanical room. Okay.
Who the freak does that? That's insane.
That's what I say. I think you jackasses, are you kidding me? So now, I just go, okay, all right. So I don't even care anymore. Right? If that's what you're going to do, I don't even care. Right? But not even considering. But I know that I have gone through that mechanical room and and have done that.
It's so common. Mm. And the worst thing is, if those boards are intended to be moved or removed for whatever reason, most people don't know the standard procedure for dealing with an IC, right? When you're working with a computer, any electronic component, especially one that's sensitive to static electricity, you have to ground yourself. At the very least, you have to discharge static electricity into something metal before you even reach into a case.
Right.
Because it doesn't, you can send a shock to an IC and not feel it, right? The one that arcs to your friggin' finger, right, that's gonna toast the board.
Right.
But you can toast the board without even sending enough voltage that you feel it.
How about that?
You have to discharge yourself. And for really expensive, like for people working with supercomputers or, like the guys in IBM working with Watson and shit, they always have those static bands around their hands that are fully earth grounded the whole time. Because, one stray shock and you're out millions of dollars. And these guys coming in there with a goddamn drill, and then who the hell, like now that the case is off, who was reaching in there pulling stuff out? That's insane.
So anyway, that's kind of my world that I live in. All the archaic stuff, ancient. They just won't spend.
You guys are cruising for a catastrophic.
Well, and not that I haven't told them, Kevin. I'm telling you, 10 years ago I started telling them. 10 years, fully 10 years ago at least, all right? Because I've been working with this stuff for about 15 years now. But fully 10 years ago, I'm like, even then our stuff was ancient old. Okay, so I said, look, the day is gonna come that this system is gonna be no good. Okay, I'm telling you now, you should be coming up with a plan that you should be replacing 10% of the system every year because it's gonna cost money. It's gonna, it's a $2 million adventure, okay, at least, which shouldn't be that big of a deal either. But, all right, so
it's a $2 million adventure if you can go through the process of bidding and blah 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 and spend 18 months on the product. Like if it's an emergency, a $2 million procedure suddenly becomes a $5 million procedure.
Exactly right. You're exactly right. And that's what I try to tell them. I'm like, look, even if you don't do 10%, do 5% a year. You guys got to start doing something. Do you think even to this day that they have done anything?
That's going to be that thing is going to go total existence failure one day. One of these days. Like, that's the thing. Electronic components don't go through wear and tear, but eventually they do just die. Like, electrons moving through circuits, like, it deteriorates the silicon.
Yes.
That's the way it goes.
The thing of it is on our units, it just happened. We're losing just, in 6 months, we lost 2 power supplies to our NC units, which are kind of, the way it works is, the workstation is just that, a workstation, right? So, but the real brains, the real programming is in these NCs, right?
Yeah.
And the NCs disseminate the information to the controllers, and they talk back and forth, yada yada yada, right? And we've had with all these power failures, okay. And we just had Pico just lost the line last weekend. I was on the phone like all weekend, and we lost the power supply. The whole NC went down. If this NC doesn't work, you know, the controllers will work standalone. Okay, but you might as well just have, you know, pneumatic air controllers on them for all the good.
Yeah.
For all the good that it does. So, you know, we just had 2 of them, and now, so I called the guy, right? I call our supplier, and I said, Augie, you know, I need, you know, from Johnson Controls, I need this part number, power supply. So he gets back to me a couple hours later. He goes, they don't even make them anymore. I mean, now what am I going to do? Because I don't know what to tell you. So I asked him for, like, you know, the part was for an NCM 350 that he says he can't get, right? They no longer make it. So I'm saying to him on the phone, I said, so right after I talked to him, you know, we lost another one, right? And so I say to him, well, if we can't get it for the 350, I'm feeling pretty good that it's not even going to be close for the NCM 200, is it? It's not even close. So, I mean, that's what we're dealing with. I mean, I happen to have a power supply that I stashed, you know, a few years ago. You know, and that's the only reason that we were able to bring this thing back to life. Now I got nothing. And they were lucky. They were just lucky that I had it.
Oh my god. That's a mess.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, guess I better go turn the treadmill off.
Alrighty. So that was a nice intermission for you. You got to see my
Did you take
shop
a
talk
wrong
with
turn?
Dad.
The back button is at the bottom of your screen.
Oh, and the fairy, and you're so funny. Whoops. Oh wait, right, that's right. I didn't actually see what his power was then. All cards cost 1. Players are capped at 1 mana. What? Shit. All cards cost 1. Players are capped, so I can play 1 card per turn unless it's free.
Malfurion versus General Drakisa!
What are you doing?
I must protect the wild.
I might have to make a deck for this. Could be fun to have a bunch of really pimp legendaries. These spells are no good.
Are you here to help me destroy the mortals of this world?
No.
Oh
my god.
Tell me why, please. I liked you.
That's weird. Oh wait. All cards cost 1, so I can't even... Oh, I should save this though, because I bet... Wait, I can't play a spell with that damn thing on the board. Ooh. This is not good. I can't even use my hero power.
Yes, Drakisa. Adventurer, you are still on the wrong side of the mountain.
I'm screwed here. I have all spells. What the hell am I supposed to do with all spells? Alright, I just gotta take it to the face.
Look, go play some raid mode. This is
Jerk? Oh, come on! Look at this! Leroy Jenkins? Pretty embarrassing show. I think I need all minions. I can't count on the hero power, so it doesn't matter what I pick that way. Let's do... Spells. Hunter. Because I can play... Start at the back end and come forward. Do I want Major Domo? I don't think so. I want things with death rattles. Because I have those feigned deaths in here. Alright, let's try that.
Rexa versus General Drakesa!
Two feigned deaths, eh?
Are you here to help me destroy the mortals of this world?
What? Oh shit!
Yes, adventurer, you are still on the wrong side of the mountain. Look, go play some ranked mode. This adventure is not for you.
No! Damn it! What? Oh, cheese and crackers.
For Blackwing!
All right, that was close. Oh shit! I forgot.
Below.
Job's done.
Not over yet, I guess.
Protect the spire.
Oh shit! This is not good. Not good at all. Oh man, I'm screwed.
Below.
Oh, come on! You're killing me! Ah! Alright, let's try again. This guy's fun now.
Rexa versus General Drakisa!
What are you doing?
Let the hunt begin.
Nice.
Are you here to help me destroy the mortals of this world? Lord Nefarious,
Come on, dude.
the one who took care of Ragnaros for us.
Yes, Rakasaf. Adventurer, you are still on the wrong side of the mountain. Look, go play some ranked mode. This adventure is not for you.
Damn, these 7 health minions, they're a bitch. Oh, right. Well, that was pretty stupid. Twisting Nether! Ugh, and I got a 2-7 out of it? Come on. Alright, I think I win. Woo! Okay. Paladin card.
Get annoyed.
Next dragon you play costs 2 less. Interesting. Rend
Turn
Blackhand.
around, mortal. You are testing powers you do not understand.
Hero power. Summon 3 1/1 whelps and get a new hero power. Okay, that's gonna be no good. Let's try... I don't know. Tempo? Let's try the goblins. They've done me so well so far.
Garrosh versus Rand Blackhand.
Victory or death!
Okay.
Climbing the wrong mountain!
Yes, yes.
Even this orc knows you are doing it wrong.
I can fix anything.
Job's done. Well played. Open the gate! Focus on the
Summon a 3/1 dragonkin. This is gonna go really wrong really quickly.
Hey, speak to me. Operation Pain.
Oh, Jesus.
A fight.
job's done.
Everyone, get in here.
Summon Gith. Oh, that is super not good. Eight. Jesus. I don't want to sack that thing into it. That would suck. I don't want to hit it for 8 damage either.
Battle detected.
Can't play his hero pawn.
Fire on!
Give that minion a turn to get ready.
Battle commencing.
Can I help you, sir?
Goblins and gnomes. I wield the power.
Damn. Damn, Gino!
Battle commencing.
This guy's gonna suck on heroic. 2/1/1 orcs with taunt. Ah! God damn it!
Charge forward!
Armory up. Orders online.
Let me get that.
Well, that really sucked. Jesus Christ! Ugh. I am royally boned. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
A fight! Come me! Let the pain speak to me.
And he gets to summon Gith again. Well, that's it. I'm screwed.
Bring pain.
Maybe he'll attack the minions alone.
Let me get that.
Alright. I don't really know what to do with this guy. That almost works. I'm gonna try it again.
Geralt versus Rand Blackhand.
Victory or death!
Should probably use tempo or something to get rid of those. Those whelps.
Even this orc knows you are doing it wrong!
Armory up.
Unfortunately timed.
Battle detected.
Defensive systems online.
It's fine. Oh, that's it. I win.
Commencing.
I'm gonna be screwed by these assholes on heroic.
Okay. You are messing with the wrong dragon.
Ren Blackhand. Alright. Shall we do the class challenges? Priest versus Drac.
Anduin versus General Drakisa! The light shall bring victory.
Thermoplug. Sweet. Alright, we'll play Thermoplug first.
Are you here to help me destroy the mortals of this world?
Ah, damn it. Gruel! Sweet. We'll play Gruel. You know what? Nobody likes you. I bet I get the bomb. Oh, I kept in. Sweet. I have to do better than that. That sucked. That Pagel! Alright, let's see. Alright, that's it. Maybe. Druid versus Rend. Druid versus Rend.
Malfurion versus Rand Blackhand!
I must protect the wild.
Something a little bit better to play on turn 1, I think. Dark Whispers! You did that on purpose, you jerks.
Are climbing the wrong mountain.
At least we know he doesn't have a dragon in his hand yet. Oops.
Bathe in flames.
My work is paramount. Leave me alone.
Echoing Ooze.
Don't mess me
I am not pretending I'm pregnant anymore. This is not 8th grade gym class.
Let's see.
I wield the power. Black.
I can't play Dark Whispers this turn either.
For the wild.
How is he 0 mana? It's not really the best innervate.
For the wild.
With the beast! Shit. God damn it.
For the wild.
Wow, this is not going great, is it? Ah, come on! You're killing me! Six, 9, 11. I can't believe I did that.
For the wilds.
Oh, that's not good.
My shield for Argon!
Let's see, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, Jesus, just enough. Ooh, that was a little tight. Oh my God, it's close. Alright, well this is going on much longer than I thought. So I will break and then we'll maybe try Heroic.